Okay, Jesse, we are live and I'm going to come out of that. I'm going to go here. All right, here we go. Nothing like a little technical glitch to keep me on my toes, right? So, hi everyone. I am Michelle Adams, and we are back with our Family Strong Conversations. I'm so excited because I have just an incredible person on the show today as my guest, and I'll let him introduce himself in a minute. But we were so, caught up in talking about food that it took me a little bit to realize that, we're running a little bit behind, and of course, then technical stuff and on and on and on. But anyway, we are here. So glad to be back. And we are in July, and July is often known as, I would say, family reunion season. Jesse, do you have any family reunion? Oh, I think we talked about where you just were.
Right.
Yeah, kind of a mini family reunion, but with friends.
Yes.
Yes. Well, 'tis the season to start, doing the family reunions again. And I know for my own family, we're doing it virtual this year, and then we'll prepare to do something live again next year. But I bring that up because when we think about family, oftentimes we think about blood relatives, right? Father, mother, siblings, grandparents, on and on. But what I love is that we are recognizing or remembering that we need to stretch beyond that and recognize that family is more than blood. It's the people that show up in our lives every day. And Jesse, when I think about you, you are that person. You showed up and you showed out for a mutual good friend of ours, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But just very briefly, introduce yourself to the people.
So my name is Jesse. I live here in New York.
Couldn't tell at all.
I work in healthcare. I've been in healthcare for about 30 years now. I am a supervisor in a hospital where I manage the registration team there. We are a team of we have over 100 employees under my department. Yeah, and that's it in a nutshell.
You missed one of the most important elements, though, of what you do and who you are, Jesse. And I can't attest to this yet because I haven't tasted it, but I think he might have a Food Network show calling his name one day, because from what I gather, it makes a mean stew and soup. And then how did we end that conversation?
So we ended it with telling you that recently I made a sweet potato cornbread that, and I gave it to a lot of people, and everybody really went crazy over it.
Well, look, I already hear my stomach grumbling like, okay, yeah. So folks, if you're in New York, I'm not gonna, maybe Jesse will hook you up. I don't want to put that out there. I don't want to put any pressure on my friend here. Well, I wanted to start off, let me start this way. I have heard your name for years now. We'll just say our mutual friend is Rena, and Rena would always talk about, oh yeah, Jesse this, Jesse that. And I'm like, who is this Jesse? And how come I don't know him? But by the time when you came into her life, I had been transitioned from New York to Colorado, kind of right about that same time. But you were a living legend in my mind, and I know in Rena's life. And I will just say this, when we finally got the chance to meet, we were in North Carolina to celebrate graduation. And I think at some point, because you came over and hugged another friend, and I'm thinking, well, wait, how come I don't know who this person is? I didn't even know that was Jesse at the moment, but I'm like, I need to meet this person. So I introduced and the whole bit. But what stood out for me was when we had that time and people came up, select people, not just anybody could get up and say a word in honor of the graduate. It was select people, and you were one of those select individuals. Just talk a little bit about that.
So Maddie wanted me to speak, my goddaughter, And so Serena told me that I was going to be on the program. And I had in my head what I was going to say. And, when I got up there, things got it,
You
it just,
were perfect.
it never turns out how you think it's going to turn out. So I think the first words out of my mouth was, Serena, we did it.
Mm.
And what I meant by that was like, I've been with Maddie since day one.
And we'll talk about that.
Friends with Serena before Madison was born.
Mm-hmm.
So when she, when she had Madison, I was there. I've been there all the way through.
Yeah. And those 3 words really resonated with me in that moment, and they still do. Rena, or 4 words, Rena, we did it. And it wasn't like you were trying to take credit. You have been there, as you mentioned, from the very beginning. And when I heard those words, I was like, wow, this truly is what the village is all about. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We say it takes a village. We quote the proverb and everything else. But you, my friend, truly live that out and embody it. And that's why I wanted to have you to talk about that. And let me say this, my intention is not to make anybody feel bad if, they haven't been a part of someone's village, but really to make us aware that there are needs outside of our own, space, and
Right.
whatever we can do to make someone else's journey a little bit lighter, then we can do it. So Jesse, let me ask you this. Like you mentioned, you've known Rena for a really long time, same. It's just seen her grow up and everything else. But you all had a special relationship because she shared something with you, I think, prior to her sharing it with anyone else. Can you just kind of lay that scene or describe that scene when she first shared with you what she did and your response to that?
So I was at a cookout, and she had called me and she said, Jess, I need to talk to you. So I said, okay. So this was in Queens. And so she said, is it okay if I come over? So I was like, yeah. I was at someone's house. She didn't know, but I said, yeah, come over. So she came over, and I left for a little while. We left, and we drove somewhere. I don't remember where we drove. Anyway, during that time, she said, I have something to tell you. And I said, yeah, what's up? So she said, I'm having a baby. No, she said, I'm pregnant. And I said, oh, we are having a baby. And, it's just been like that for me with Rena from day one. I don't think that you choose, as far as I'm concerned, you don't choose the people that you're going to be connected with. It just happens.
Yeah.
And that's how it was with Rena for me from day one. We connected in church. Mm-hmm. And she still laughs at this story, but the day we both remember the day we really connected. Mm-hmm. Our church had an outing. We went away and we went to King's Dominion.
I remember it. And
yeah.
In Virginia, right?
And so we got on a roller coaster ride. Mm-hmm. And I really acted up.
Oh. Well, wait, describe acted out. Was it like scared or?
Yes. I don't like roller coasters.
Oh, yeah.
I carried on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she cracked up the whole time, and we hit it off from there.
That is so, and like you say, you don't know, you can't make up these moments. Sometimes people try to force a relationship that was not meant to be. And from what I gather, the two of you it was an organic kind of something resonated in you to her and her to you. And that just created this beautiful friendship that you all have.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely. Yes. And I want to go back though, because you mentioned that the two of you met in church. And when Rena shared, Jess, I'm pregnant, and just so everybody knows, he's not the father. He's not the biological father. It's right. Like, no, I'm stepping in. When I say we're having a child, we're pregnant, I've got you. I've got your back.
Right.
But let's go back for a minute, because talk about church and the fact that now she's sharing something, unwed mother, church, kind of old school. Talk about that a little bit.
So our church was not kind of old school. Our church was old school.
Yeah.
We went to a very strict Pentecostal church. So of course, you know, pregnant outside of wedlock is frowned upon. And I don't know if she had her reservations with telling me, but as I'm not that type of person that I'm going to judge you or any. If you're my friend, you're my friend. And so I don't think that I sat back and thought of those words that we're going to have a baby. I think that's just who I am, and it just came out.
Yeah.
And we've been together for God knows how long as friends, and more so brother sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would agree. And we'll come back to that, but I'm curious because you said that's just always the way I've been. What makes you that person? What do you think it was something that you saw growing up, or?
So I've gone through a lot of rejection, and I've had my own share of issues, and I think that the rejection that I've gone through has caused me to be more open to people and more concerned about people, how they're feeling, not wanting to offend people or make people feel less than, so to speak. Yeah. Whereas the crazy thing is that in the church that we went to, you would definitely feel less than. Yeah. So I I I guess from just being rejected and going through what I went through in life, I just can't do that to somebody else. Yeah.
Amen to that. And you know what? I mean, that's a whole nother conversation
Right.
about what the church should be and sometimes what it's not. And it's
Right.
more about people and everything else. But thank you for being that church the way it's supposed to be, in the flesh, helping out individuals. Like you mentioned, no judgment here because we
Right.
all have stuff,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And go ahead. What were you going to say?
I'm gonna say, even though I didn't know this back then, and not throwing off on anyone, I was much younger, so you look at people in a different way. So the church I went to at that time, we was very young. I think I was like 22 when I joined that church. So I'm just thinking, this place is holy. Yes. Okay. Yes. Everybody is holy. Years later, coming to find out a whole bunch of stuff was going on. It doesn't even make sense to act like that,
Exactly. It's like, can we just peer behind the curtain a little bit and just see what's going on here? Oh gosh. And I think also, and I understand that rejection piece, where if this is something that you've experienced in whatever format, it can make you go one of two ways. It can make you either become very bitter and hardened and not trusting of others, or it makes you more sensitive and more empathetic towards others and the things that they're going through. Yeah. And it sounds like you chose the latter. So kudos to you. We had a conversation where we talked, well, let me ask you this. What does being a godfather mean to you?
So to me, I think that that's a very important role. I think that it should not, for me, I wouldn't take that lightly. I didn't think that I was ever going to be someone's godfather, and I've never had the desire to be a whole bunch of people's godfather, because most people can say, oh, I have 3 godchildren or 5 godchildren. I didn't want all of that. So when Rena asked me to be the godfather of Madison, I took that very serious. And yes, of course, I was going to be, her godfather, but I didn't want it to be just a name. I wanted to be active. I wanted to be a part of. I wanted to be connected with her. And I think that us 3 accomplished that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what is it, the a three-fold strand or a three-chord strand, not easily broken. And yeah, you all definitely embody that. And you can just see for Maddie, just the love that she has for you. And it's just a beautiful thing. And so I love that, because you're right. A lot of times people are like, oh, I got 10 godchildren, and you just can't keep up. You really can't be what it is that I think a godparent should be in that person's life. And heaven forbid if something should happen to the parent. Now you got all these little godchildren.
Right.
Take care of them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a moment that stands out to you in terms of being a godfather?
Not really, because I've had so many intimate moments with Maddie. And you can't make these moments up. You can't fabricate them. Yeah. They just happen. Yeah. And weird things is that with me and Maddie, it can happen walking to the store, to Dunkin' Donuts to get coffee. Mm-hmm. And the conversation just opens and she talks about whatever's on her heart. Yeah. And you know what? For the most part, I listen. Yeah. I'll listen. And then if I have something to say, I'll share that. But it's mostly listening, mostly being there. I think being present, whether that's through phone calls, actually being there, or however you are present, because, she lives in North Carolina, I live in New York. Mm-hmm. However, we have maintained our relationship, FaceTiming each other from time to time. Sometimes when me and Rena are talking, Maddie will just step right in. Yeah. We're all having this conversation going, so nothing really stands out to me. Mm-hmm. We've just had our very intimate conversational times. Yeah. I love. And is there anything, because parents will often say there's no book that prepares you to be a parent, right? You just have to kind of step in. Would you say the same thing with your relationship with Maddie, or did you have some example? Was there someone in your life who was a godfather or godmother to you? So no. Okay. It's just how things play out, and just being there. Yeah. I think that's the most I could explain, just being there. But I think that just being there as a parent is extremely important. So many times people think that it's the clothes you buy, the what you do, and all of those things are important. I would never can't go walking around naked, but very important that you connect with your child and that you are present and you listen and hear what they're saying. Yeah. Because it's in those moments that they're open, when they're open at that moment when they are sharing those intimate things, and it's those times where you can give the guidance. Mm-hmm. I love that. You had mentioned because you're in New York, they're in North Carolina. I'm wondering what that was like, that trip to when they finally moved. Were you sobbing at the airport? How did that work out? So, Serena was going through a lot of transition with her job, and we knew she had to leave. We didn't sob, but we felt it. Yeah. We felt it because Serena and Maddie came over to my house almost every weekend. Wow. Mm-hmm. And I used to watch Maddie while Serena was in her tax season. Mm-hmm. But she used to work long hours when she was in her tax season. So, she would bring Maddie over, and I was one of the persons who would watch her. But me, Rena, and Maddie used to hang out all the time. It was a group of us. We used to go out to dinner. We would have dinner lots of dinners at my house. Yeah. Everybody over. And Serena, the funny thing, Serena would leave the group. I would look up, she's gone. I knew where she was at. She was in my bed sleeping. Oh.
That girl's good for taking a nap. Wow.
We're in
Wow.
the living room
Mhm.
talking and carrying away with Maddie.
Yeah.
Serena's and she just had to take her nap.
Yes. Well, I could say, just from being at that graduation ceremony, and when you said we did it, you and Rena and the village, right? Because like you
Yeah.
said, there were other
Yeah.
people too.
Yes.
Yes, really did a phenomenal job. All I could do was just sit back and just take it all in. But as you're mentioning how you all would spend so much time together, I would say, and I'm probably exaggerating, but like half the pictures of the pictures they were showing, there's Mr. Jesse and Maddie
Yeah.
and Rena. So
Yeah.
That
But
really.
Maddie's the type of young lady that it is very difficult not to get close to her. Like you said, Rena definitely has a village. Her brother has definitely been there for her from day one. Her dad, her stepmom, nieces, nephews. She has a village. And Maddie is such a sweet young lady. Serena's getting compliments about Madison's character, personality all the time.
Oh.
It's very difficult not to connect with her because, the times that we live in, it's far and in between that you meet a young person that is so sweet and so generous as she is, so kind.
Yeah.
You know?
And I met Maddie at different stages, but just at this one, even that curiosity and that hunger, to want more and to do more and to be more.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And just how she is with people, like even senior citizens. When she met my dad, she was very attentive, and she was young at the time. She was very attentive to him. My father he's passed away now, but he was a double amputee.
Oh,
and
wow.
he was older, and she was very attentive to him, as she is her own grandfather, is everybody else. She's always concerned about other people. She's definitely a humanitarian.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know every child has their own innate gifts and talents and abilities that have been placed inside of them, but it's up to that village, the people around them, to help nurture and bring those gifts and talents out. And you, my friends, and Rena, and all the folks that are part of that village, you all help to do that. So kudos to that. And as we start to wrap up, what I want to know first and foremost, is there two separate words? First, there's a word to perhaps, maybe there's a single mom or a single dad who's out there and they're like, what is this village of which you speak? I don't have this village. I want a village. What would you say to that person, or even just a word of encouragement for that person?
So I would definitely say, maybe God has placed somebody there for you, and it may not be the person that you think it, would be that village, but be open. Be open. Of course, it's your children, so you want to monitor who's around your children and all of that. But don't be so overprotective that you turn away the help that does come. That's what I would give.
That is a word, Mr. Crawford. That is. Now, let me ask you to turn it around to the village. What would you say? Because again, we throw that word around somewhat loosely, I think, and arbitrarily at times, because as you pointed out, you do have to monitor who's in your village. You can't just let any old folks up in there. But let's just say you are now wanting to do something to give back, to be that person for someone else. What would you say to the folks, to the village, to the global village, about what folks can do to really assist and help out someone who could use an encouraging word or a supportive hand or something along those lines, to say you're not in this by yourself?
So definitely, Are you talking about from the village standpoint to offer their help to someone?
That's right. How could they step up?
Okay, so it's all about connection, I think. If you have a desire, know that God put that desire in you, first of all, and that He will connect you with whoever He wants you to be connected with and who He wants you to help. And, you know, for me, I can only speak from my experience. It's just easy for me. Things come very natural to me. I don't force anything. So even with all of my friends and everyone that I'm connected with, there's nothing forced. Everything just happens. And if you have that desire inside of you to help someone, let it just happen. Let it just happen. Yeah.
Come on, Pastor Crawford. I love that. I love that. And of course, you know, as we were chit-chatting beforehand, and I was asking you about your summer plans, and you know, you shared what happened, and just tell the folks what you're about to do in August.
Okay, so Maddie is about to go away to college, and I am going to North Carolina to meet up with Rena and Maddie, and we are going to take her to college.
I mean, literally, it just wells up because of that. And just so folks know, because you know, I have to say this, it's not just any college, right? It's what school is she going to?
She is going to Spelman.
Yes, yes. So God Daddy and Mama, and I'm sure the whole rest of the village, but the fact that you were like, you know what? I'm showing up for her like I always have. This does not end just because we got you to the 18-year-old finish line. Being a godparent, being a part of the village means that you're in it for the long haul. And you have just demonstrated that with not just mere words, but actions beyond actions beyond actions. And honestly, for that, I salute you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know, it is very easy. Like I said before, it is very easy with Maddie. I was talking to someone this week and I said, you know, some people do, some people have a gift to deal with your more difficult young people. That's not me.
Oh, that's not your ministry.
That's not me. Maddie is easy breezy. She is.
Yeah.
You know, we just connect.
God knew what He was doing. So in other words, i.e., if people are looking for a godfather, don't come calling Jesse right now. he is not available, right? You know, I meant to start off by reading something, because in the book, and I'm going to send you a copy of this, but it's called Family Strong, 7 Gifts for a Lasting Legacy. And there's a section in there that talks about the gift of wellness. And part of the gift of wellness is about social wellness. And I talk about the village, and where Rena and I grew up, it truly was a close-knit, tight community. But I say parenting can be a lonely and overwhelming experience, and oftentimes requires an extended family or village to help build a healthy legacy. And we were just really fortunate to be able to have that kind of built-in structure. But I say, you know what, you can replicate the concept of the village instead of trying to do the difficult task of parenting on your own, rather than just pulling into, you know, whether it's going into your building, pulling into your garage, whatever it may be, engage with the people around you. And look for ways to, as you pointed out, to connect with other people. And we have to open ourselves up to it. So thank you for being that example, for helping all of us to recognize that we can't do this on our own. Life as it is can be challenging enough. Yeah. What can we do to be there to support one another?
Definitely. Yeah. And you know, just as I've been there for them, they've been there for me.
I know that's right.
Through very hard times that I had, they were there when my mom passed away. They were there when my dad passed away. You know, those very trying times. If I've been there 100% for them, they've been there 100% for me.
I love that. And thank you for saying that, because it is that two-way street.
Yes.
And the more we pour out, the more we need someone to pour into us. So it goes both ways.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, this has been another fabulous episode of talking about Family Strong, recognizing those gifts that we all have. We each have something that we can share with the world. Jesse's one of his gifts, because he has clearly so many more, but one of his gifts was being able to seed into one family. And from there, the ripple effects will keep on going because it's generational. And I believe that what you have modeled will continue to go down through the various generations. So again, my hat's off to you. I salute you. I applaud you. I thank you. And I give thanks to God for you, for showing up in the way that he wanted you to show up and being obedient to that call. Because it would have been really easy to say, no, Lord, she's having a baby. Not we, but it all comes together. So yes, thank you. And oh, absolutely, absolutely. And until we meet again the next time, I want you all to be blessed and to know that there are people who are rooting for you, and you've got this. You've got gifts and talents that need to come out, and your legacy matters. So with that, we will sign off from Facebook, and until the next time. Thanks, Jesse.
All right.